Tobore and Clara, thanks for coming to Tech Bridge with Ricky. Uh,
Hi, thank you for having me.
we'll start with you guys introducing yourselves. Just briefly, what you do, how long you've been in tech space, and yeah, we'll go from there. So let's start with Clara, ladies first.
Thank you, Rukayat. So, my name is Clara. I am a full stack developer with a front end focus. I've been doing this professionally for 5 years now. Yeah, I think we'll start from there.
Okay, nice, nice. Tobore.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tubore, and I have been doing this, I think, since 2013. I'm also a
Nice.
full stack developer with focus on the back end. More of a back end engineer than a front end engineer. Yeah, so that's me too in a summary.
Okay, interesting. So I know both of you are from non-technical background. So Tobore, what did you study? Let's start with that.
I studied a very funny course in university. Um, my course of study was forestry and wildlife, and amazingly, after graduation, we were expected to be in the bush, chasing monkeys and squirrels and all of those things. But fortunately for myself, I was able to delve into tech with some help. If you want, I can go into that story.
Oh
But
yes, yes,
originally,
yes. Let's
okay,
hear the story.
originally it was fresh and wildlife. I was meant to be a farmer, but thank God for tech, I was able to, know, dive into tech, and the story has been beautiful. So I think it all happened. That was 2013. I had
Okay,
just finished from university. I was, I think, preparing to go for my youth service corps, which is customary for everyone who just graduates from a higher institution in Nigeria here. And I had this laptop, one HP laptop that I was always using for video games. In fact, if the laptop had issues, I was always fond of, taking my screwdriver and I begin to lose it and I begin to, fix some things. I used soldering iron to play with it, and I was always doing that. So my mom, who happens to be a food seller, saw that and she was like, since my son loves computers, I think I want him to, learn IT.
oh,
Because for her, at that time, anyone who understood IT was made. That was the misconception there. As long as you're into IT, you're set for life, that kind of thing. So she had this person, one of her customers, who was always coming to, buy food from her, patronize her. And she was like asking the guy, sorry, what do you do? And the guy was like, I'm a software developer. And she was like, is that IT? And he was like, yeah, it's a branch of IT. And she was like, okay, I have this young lad who plays with computers and I want him to, learn IT. And I'm like, yeah, I can take him. So she paid him some money, and the guy took me for about 2 months. In fact, to be honest with you, when the guy was teaching me, PHP and syntax and all of those things, I didn't understand anything. But I had to pretend that I understood stuff because I knew that if I didn't understand, my mom was going to have a hold with me. So whenever the guy just gave me assignments, I would just be nodding my head. Or if he was saying anything, I just pretend as if I understood what he was saying. So luckily, after the 2 months ended, my mom still beckoned on him to talk to his boss so that I could work in their company without pay, so that I could learn a lot of things. So for 5 months, I was going to the office. My mom was paying my transport every day, and after 5 months, I think I was learning. Then on the 6th month, I got my first salary. That was 2013 of 25,000 naira, and the rest is history. So
okay. So this was
that was how
this was
I
like an
started.
unpaid internship, and you got paid from
Yeah,
the.
yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, then we'll come back to it. Clara, please,
Yeah.
can you tell us what you studied and also your journey? How did you then transition to being a software developer?
Yeah, so I studied communication in uni. So
We
this
also
is my
need to say that Clara is Kenyan, and yeah, so just continue. You could tell us
In
what
case they're wondering where the accent is from. So my background is, yeah, I did communication is in uni. So when I finished high school, okay, so I'll start in high school. So in Kenya, you choose between three majors in high school or more. You can either do computer studies, agriculture, you can do business or home science. So you choose one of them in high school. So I chose computer. So I had a little bit of a computer knowledge there.
oh,
But after high school, then of course you choose what degree you want to pursue. So I chose communication because everyone around me believed that I was good at communication. So they're like, ah, it makes sense, just do communication. And so yeah, I did it. And then around my final years of communication, I was challenged to be able to make something that would actually make an impact in the world. And at that time, I thought, oh, perfect, I'll just make Uber ambulance. Yeah, and I thought it would be as easy as ABCD to make such an application because I was like, I'll make Uber ambulance. I went to my lawyer friend, I patent, I did everything. And he was like, really? You know what you're doing? I said, yes. And then I had a neighbor who was doing computer science, and I told him, guy, just make this app for me, and that's it. Oh, he was in university. He was in a university called Strathmore. He was a second year student. He couldn't do it, couldn't deliver. He kept saying, "Oh, it will take so much time. We have to do, I don't know, two guys and the budget, and I have to be paid for it." And I was like, "No, you know what? I'll just do it for myself." So I went back and tried to make this app. So I googled, where am I supposed to start making this app? And I realized I had to do so much learning. Yeah, and so that's how I found myself now on the software engineering journey, away from my computer science degree because I wanted to make an app. And then I realized, it would be take so much. So I started learning from scratch again how to be, yeah, a software engineer to make the app. Long story short, unfortunately, this application never happened.
but it can still happen,
Yeah, I mean, I got discouraged as well because after some time, some other people made the app and they got funded, and I got discouraged. But of course, now I would do it. But just back then, the dream kind of like, yeah, got shut a little bit. But the good news is, after I got the skills, I got a job as a uni student, just coming out of uni and stuff. I mean, that comes a long way. Yeah, but now I am still making applications that I feel need to be seen with the world. So
exactly.
it's a skill set, yeah, that has helped me achieve some of those goals.
Awesome, awesome, interesting. I know Tobore learned. He had a mentor. He had someone to guide him. So I would say it took lesser time compared. I know, Clara, did you learn on your own, or how did you? You said you had to like go research and start learning. So did you also
Yeah,
have a mentor the way Tobore did? Did someone teach you, or you just went on YouTube and just started to learn?
I did everything on YouTube. Everything on
Wow,
YouTube.
interesting.
I went on YouTube, found a guy who had a roadmap. He was like, "This is the roadmap to be a front end engineer. Make sure you know this, 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 this. Make sure you know this." And I followed through until the end. Well, at least
Awesome.
most of the things I had
Yeah,
done.
yeah, awesome, awesome. So how long did that take you? For the
Well,
learning journey,
I
of
don't want.
course, sorry, of course, I know it's continuous, but I mean, before you started applying for a job or getting the job.
Yeah. Well, I did it for 6 months, and I know that might sound crazy, but yeah, I mean it's because I put out so many hours into it. So yeah, I was ready at 6 months.
Awesome, awesome. So from communications to Toberi studied what's that? What do you
Forestry.
call it? Forestry to front
First show I like.
So that's really awesome, guys. But I'm sure this transition didn't happen without challenges. There would have been issues or challenges on the way. So let's start with Tobore. What were the challenges you faced while learning or just transition?
To be honest with you, so for someone like myself, who at least Clara had some sort of computer science background. So for someone like myself who didn't have a computer science background, the first challenge I had was in communicating with people who were fellow tech people, being able to use the right words was a problem. As a doctor, you should be able to use terms that a doctor would use. You understand? Rather than using a layman tongue to explain certain concepts. So if I go for interviews, right, and maybe I'm asked a question, right, on something, and have the knowledge, but because I may not know the big words like what an API is or what multi-threading is and all of those things, if I am to explain those concepts like a layman, people usually look at me as at that time as someone who really didn't know his onions, and it was a very big problem. In fact, after I was done in 2013, it took me almost 3 years for me to get my first job because I was going for interviews. In fact, for the first 2 years, I was right. I knew if I was to go for this job interview, I was going to fail. But the beauty of it was, I go for the interview. If I fail the interview, I tend to gain knowledge or insights as to what the expectation was for the role. And for example, if I'm asked something I couldn't answer, when I go back to the house, I'll then make research on it, and that also improved my learning. In fact, another major challenge I had was I was one, I didn't have a technical background. Whenever I present my CV, they say that okay, this guy is an IT
Yeah.
person. They're like, okay, how do you hire someone who is an IT person? So I'm not proud of it, but it helped. What I had to do was for some companies that I had gone to that had failed their interviews, I wrote that I worked there. And when prospective companies saw that, okay, he has worked here and here, at least I had two experiences, that was how I was able to get my first job. So when I
So
got my first job after,
work experience
yeah,
matters.
it matters. If you're just entering into IT and you don't have a solid work experience to back up what you think you know, you may struggle. That's just the truth. Because I wouldn't blame businesses because most businesses want to make money. They have problems that they need to solve. And so it may be difficult for them to, give you that time frame to develop on the job. Some companies do it, but most companies wouldn't have that time. They expect you to know everything on the top of your head. So sometimes you need to, have that courage that yeah, you can do the job and maybe back it up with some evidence. And if you're given the opportunity, you then have to prove that you understand it. So that was how it was. And little by little by little, I was beginning to get opportunities, and the more opportunities I got, the more I was able to remove those things that I knew they were very true in my
Yeah.
CV, and that was how
You
you
actually got
So
you
those were
build
some challenges.
opportunities.
Yeah, those were
um,
some challenges.
nice, awesome, awesome, awesome. Clara, can you tell us about the challenges you had on your journey?
Yeah, I mean, breaking through is one of the hardest things to do, but I would have to say with the right roadmap, it can be better. So, for example, in my case to break through, I did projects. So if maybe like I did projects that looked like work experience. So let me explain, yeah. So I had one full stack application that I put on my resume, and then and then I also reached out to my community. I reached out on WhatsApp actually, and I asked, hey, does anyone need a website done for them? Because I already have the skill set. So someone reached out to me, they're like, hey, I have a business and I need a website. And it was for a security company. And I said, I'll do it for free. I just want to, take care of my resume. And I'm like, okay, you'll just give me a little something. So they reached out to me. I did the website for them. It was there on my resume, and they paid me a little, very little money, whatever they could have, which was okay because I just needed this for the resume, and I was able to break through. So I would say that breaking through with the right guidance can be easy, but yeah, that was a little bit of a yeah, I needed some guidance. And then the other challenge I had in tech, I'll just tell you, there's this place called Twine. I don't know if you guys know Twine. It's newish, place for freelancers. One
Okay.
time I reached out to someone and I'm like, hey, I have the experience. I've done this and this and this. I can help you do what you need to do. This guy just said, sorry, want a man.
We'll
Really?
talk about that exactly. Another thing, I feel like
That was humbling.
exactly. Sometimes the challenges men have to face differ from women. Of course, we have the whole diversity and inclusion now, but there are times that women also don't get the opportunities because they feel like men would do it better, especially in the tech space. I've
Yeah.
been in the companies I've been. Most times, I'm usually the only one on my team. I remember my first interview. The guy was shocked. So you just jump on the call and he looked at me like, "Oh, a woman." And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I can really relate with what you said now. But something actually stood out with what both of you just told me now, that you were ready to work for free. And that's one thing I feel new or aspiring tech professionals or people that want to, come into tech should also understand. You may be lucky. For me, I didn't have to work for free. So after learning, I was lucky I got the job. But that
Yeah.
doesn't always happen like that. So you can also look for internships, look for people you can shadow or just work for free, do something for free, create a portfolio, show people, and
Yeah.
from there the prospect and prospect is, a lot. You can then get better jobs and you move from there. So yeah, thanks for saying that.
And I'd even also just add on that and say if someone is scared maybe of learning for free, you can do the same roadmap as I did. Like as soon as you learn something that's enough to go, then you can work for free. And working for free means in this case, leverage your skill sets to help someone in the sense of freelance, not going leaving your house and going to work somewhere for free because that can be frustrating. You need fare,
Yeah,
you need
yeah,
lunch.
yeah,
I mean, from the comfort of your home, simply
exactly.
reach out to someone, can I make your website? And you can do it as soon as you learn HTML, CSS. I asked that guy that I can make his website in the second month.
Awesome,
So yeah,
awesome.
in the whole 6 months, by the time I'm done with full stack learning, I already have that on my CV. So you can do it as soon as you know basic HTML, CSS, even if it's week one, week two, I don't know, month one, and then as you keep learning.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know we know how we met, and we met while working for an international company. So you guys learnt on your own and all of that, but you've worked for international remote companies from Africa. So from Kenya, you were able to work for a company outside Kenya. Sorry, so Borough, you're able to work for a company outside Nigeria. How did you land that job? What platform? And was, of course, I know this was not your first role, but at what point or what level of confidence do you need to think that yes, I qualify to apply for international roles and all of that?
Clara first or myself?
Yeah, Toburi.
Okay. Okay. So for me, well, when you've been doing something over a period of time and you become good at it, especially when you see that the solutions you provide actually, brings value to the business, then you begin to build or have this kind of confidence to, take up more challenges. In fact, talking about challenges of a software developer, like we were discussing previously, there was one I know I had faced. And in fact, when we all started working for that international company, to be honest with you, I won't lie, my eyes were exposed to a whole lot of things because I could now see things from a different angle. Now, after I was done with my internship and all of that, I told you it took me about almost 3 years before I landed my first job. In fact, in all the companies I worked for prior to my last international job, I usually found myself to be the only software developer within the company. And because of that, because there were no teams that I was, sharing knowledge with, if there was a problem, I was constricted to whatever solution I knew I could find for that problem. When you're working in a team, you're able to share ideas, you're able to learn from people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, if there's something that you're doing wrongly, your teammates can help you checkmate that. If they're checkmating that, it can help you grow at a faster rate. But if you're working alone, if you're a nomad who has been working alone for a long period of time, if you're doing things that are wrong, there's actually nobody to tell you that, hey, this thing you're doing isn't best practice. Because for you, it works, you will think it's ideal. So it means that for someone who is just getting into tech, you need to, you shouldn't be working alone because you wouldn't know it all. The more you're able to converse with people, the more you're able to work in a team, the faster it is for you to go. Now, when I started working with that international company, and I found out that, to be honest with you, I didn't know anything. I may have understood syntax, I may have understood how to make some certain things work, but I was not programming using best practices. And it was a problem initially. But as time went on, as I started working with two senior developers, I started understanding the reason why it's important for you to follow best practices. And because of that, my code writing greatly improved. In fact, when I started working with that company, one application I had built for a previous client that the client was happy about, I had to confess to the client. I said, sir, please, this thing that I built for you, right? I know you love it. I know it's working well for you. But if I'm being honest with you, what I built was arrant nonsense. And so because of that, I will have to go back and rebuild everything and I'll do it for you at no cost. And he was very happy when he saw that I could, come back and tell him that, okay, look, what I did for you before was not up to standard. But right now, I have to go back and change everything. And the beauty of it is, what I had done for him after my international work experience, I could, if I leave the company tomorrow, someone who comes there now and sees my code will be proud that, yeah, this guy was actually able to do a whole lot of things, made a whole lot of changes, rather than me writing one function that could have 6,000 lines of code, which is actually bad practice and things that you cannot maintain. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is, you need to ensure that you're, conversing with people. Always reach out to people who know it more than you, because you may always learn something new from those people. Don't just isolate yourself and think that because you have watched it on YouTube, you know it all. There are actually people who may know things better than you, and you may actually learn a lot from them if you really
Absolutely.
want to do the job. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's it.
Absolutely. So yeah, basically find mentors and be open to the fact that you will learn on the job. You don't have to be perfect before going for it.
Yeah.
Improve, work on your skill sets, then take on the challenges,
Yep.
apply for that job. And if you're lucky to get the job, be open to learning on the job. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Tobore. So yeah,
Yep.
Clara, let's talk about the common misconceptions about tech. And people who say tech, tech, there are so many things people that are not in the field think about tech. What do you think are the common misconceptions? And why do you think people have these ideas?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but just tech is hard, I think is a misconception. I think people should look at it as anything that is new is hard, but once you practice or get a hold of it, it becomes easier. Yeah, so it's the right mindset. It's not hard, it's just new.
Exactly.
Um, yeah. So after some time, yeah, you will get your hand on it. I mean, it's not easy like peanut butter, but definitely, but definitely, it's not as hard as a rock as well. You can always find your foot at a place where you're comfortable enough to do some skills with practice.
Awesome. Yeah, 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 exactly.
Yeah. Another misconception is, oh, I need a degree. Obviously, we've been able to rule that out. You can learn it from wherever that the resources
I
are
think we
available.
lost Tobore, but Adim. Okay.
I'm back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So another misconception, you need a degree for that. No, you do not need a degree. We've already been able to debounce that.
That, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Another misconception about tech, I have to say, is, and you guys will throw rocks or support me on this, but it's
Mhm.
that you can only get the big money in tech by working, for international companies. Although this might be true to some extent, but you can also make a decent living in tech by offering solutions to people wherever you are.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
there's so many businesses in every place in the world. There are businesses in Nigeria. But do you know Nigeria has so much potential? Nigeria has so much oil. I'm serious. If it's not for corruption, Nigeria would take over the world. I don't know. So all I'm saying is,
So boring.
I know tomorrow is skeptical. Somebody wants to japa as soon as possible. But
Yeah,
listen,
I was going to ask that, Clara. How is the Japa thing in Kenya? Do you think it's a huge? Because it's a big deal in Nigeria. So is
Does
it
she
I
does she
know.
even
Kenya?
understand what Japa is? You need to explain what Japa is to
Clara,
her.
do you know what Japa
I
is?
know
Why
what
you say
japa
Japa?
is.
Oh,
Japa is like leaving your country
oh, yeah,
and going
exactly.
abroad. Everyone knows japa.
So is it a big thing in Kenya?
It's not as big as it is in Nigeria because even in Kenya there are so many Nigerians, but I'm sure in Nigeria they're not. Of course, there are very
Yeah,
few
a lot of
Kenyans here.
Kenyans. Yeah,
It's huge. So in Kenya, most people leave and go abroad, maybe with school, university. If they perform well, they got scholarships or just for the masters. But Nairobi is a beautiful city, let's be honest. But people still go to US, whatever, for better opportunities because it's Africa, right? Our leaders are corrupt, and sometimes it feels like to get that big money, you need to leave
need
your
to
country.
leave. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
But
So
I have to say, I still believe that Africa has so many resources and so many people are trying to set up businesses now. And in this era of tech and social media, you can earn pretty decent, good cash if you have the right connections in Africa.
absolutely,
You can
absolutely.
offer solutions, you can create solutions in Africa and actually earn pretty decent cash.
Absolutely. To buttress what you said, I was just a friend and I were talking, and we're talking about unicorns. I mean, startups in Africa. And we have about 14 and about seven for or eight from Nigeria. And there's so many things you can do with tech on different, I mean, at different domains. So there's edu tech, there's fintech, there's health tech, there's so for at every in every
Yeah.
sector you can use tech to make it better. So we should not always just focus on it working for international companies, which is nice. You get exposed
Yeah.
to things outside your own jurisdiction and all of that. But we should also think inwards and see how we can improve different sectors in our countries. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Clara. Tobori, what will you
Yes.
say about the misconceptions? And yeah, let's hear them.
Well, okay, so I can say some of them, but before I even get that, I think the reason why Clara was saying what she was saying is because she doesn't want me to jackpot. So I'm going to tell Clara something. No,
It's so
no,
personal.
no, no matter what you say,
Hey,
You must.
I must jackpot.
Japan, why though? I mean, for you, I
Why
mean,
not?
as a tech professional, you can earn remotely from Nigeria. What? So why do you
Yes.
have to?
Look,
If it's
there was
about
something that Clara said that I love so much, right? She said, our leaders are corrupt and all of that. You see, the more you continue to stay in a place where you have corrupt leaders, the more it begins to affect your brain cells. If you're not careful, your brain cells will begin to reduce. So as soon as you have the opportunity, well, for me personally, I think for me the
personally, of
only
course, this is
major reason
personal.
why I want to travel is because I want to see the world. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I feel it's
Yeah.
totally unfair that humans have decided to to restrict people from moving freely. I believe that
Yeah.
our Father in heaven gave us this earth as our gift. And so I should have the right to freely explore, you understand, and see everything or as much as I can of what God has created for us to enjoy on earth. But unfortunately, that is not what we find. And so, because I'm looking to, get more experiences, just experience different facets of life, or
Life,
have
yeah,
a taste of what
absolutely.
life has to
Mm-hmm,
offer. That's what I really would
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
love to travel. But that aside, so you asked me a question. You said, what are some of the misconceptions about tech? So I think one I have come in contact with is some people feel that being a software developer, for example, is all about memorizing syntax. And for me, I think that is false. Some people say that as long as you are able to memorize some certain code or memorize some certain syntax, then you've gotten it. But I think that's false because I used to think like that, right? And that was what made me develop software that wasn't really up to standard. But when I started to
Yeah,
realize that you see, software development is more about creativity, your problem solving skills, your ability to ensure that whatever thing you're building is something that can be easily maintained by another programmer or developer, so to speak. I began to realize that look, it's not all about you just knowing how to mix cement or knowing how to do the basics. If you don't know how to properly structure your code, then at the end of the day, your code becomes something that after a while, rather than people improving on it, probably expanding it, because you built it wrongly, it may be difficult for someone to inherit it. And before you know it, you have to whatever you've built becomes obsolete. And you need to start looking for someone to build everything again. Now, another one, like what Clara said, some people feel that tech is only for people who studied computer science, right? Which is very false. I never had a computer science degree, and for me, I am excelling in it, even better than some of my friends that I know who actually studied computer
true,
science in
true,
university,
Yeah.
true.
and they don't know one or two when it comes to writing code. You understand? So it's not really for tech people or people who have a degree. If you have an interest in it and you have a passion for it, I think with your passion you can excel in the tech industry. Then another misconception is tech is for people who are highly mathematical, people who understand
Yeah.
mathematics a whole lot, because mathematics is a subject that is for people who have very good thinking faculty. But the truth is, no matter how dull your brain is, if you have a passion for it, you can excel in it. So those
Exactly.
are some of the misconceptions. Another one that I was leaning towards, in fact, I think I had a friend of mine who that I think ChatGPT came out barely 2 years now. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah, quite recent, yeah.
in those days when we were programming, especially when if we had one big problem and we didn't know how to solve it, we had to start making research. We go to Stack
Stack
Overflow.
Overflow.
Yeah, you begin to see people who have probably encountered something similar. If you have searched the whole web and you can't find solution to your problem, you have to start reaching out to colleagues and people begin to
Yeah.
brainstorm. Very interesting. In fact, companies at that time used to look at us as like gods. You understand? Because we
Yeah.
will go. But the misconception now is because there is open AI now, we are nobodies. And they feel that because you have software like ChatGPT that can help you just write a block of code, right? Maybe AI has come to take our jobs. Now, the truth is, yes, I can agree that thanks to ChatGPT, right, the market now is very saturated. You have every Tom, Dick, and Harry now can say that, yeah, they're a software developer. But the truth is, if you do not understand basic concepts, right, if you don't even know how to read and interpret code, it may be very difficult for you to take whatever ChatGPT has given you, right, and implement it in your program. So the idea that AI has come to take our jobs, I think that's a misconception. I think it
Yeah.
has actually come to improve our productivity. So
Absolutely.
people open to it, right? I think AI has actually given us the opportunity, to explore possible options to enhance our career. In fact, in those days, when I had issues, it could take me a couple of days to make research on something. But thanks to AI now, all I need to do is just ask it a question and it gives me an answer, and I'm able to, it has actually increased my productivity. So people should not be scared that because you have tools like
Yeah.
ChatGPT, right? You can always, it's never too late for you to start. That's just my two
Yeah.
cents on it.
Thank you, Toberi. Thank you. Awesome points. That last point is actually a very interesting one, which kind of brings me to my next question. Supply versus demand of tech professionals. So, with what you said, AI coming to take over our jobs, and people like me telling people that you can come to tech. Do you think the demand is we have such demand for tech professionals? If AI is coming, are there if they transition, are there jobs for them? Do you think the demand is still growing and will continue to grow? AI can't replace tech professionals.
Okay, so I think for me, or Clara, I think maybe you want to answer this question.
Anyone.
Let me,
Yeah,
let me,
yeah.
let me give Clara an opportunity to talk.
No,
Then
you can
maybe.
answer. It's fine. I'll just go after. I'm not in a
Okay,
hurry.
so I think from what I have noticed, right, because of the misconceptions people used to have, when they see, oh, you're a software developer, this guy is really very brainy and all of that. Thanks to AI, like I said, a lot of people can jump on tech. But from what I've noticed, I think the market right now is very saturated. And so, because of the saturation of develop, right now, my father, who is almost 70, can decide he wants to be a software developer. And there's no stopping him. And the truth is,
Really? Yes.
he
Every
actually excel because my dad originally is a graphics designer, so he knows how to do a lot of front end work. So all he needs to do is if he adds my back end skills to it, it means I'm out of the job because I can't do front end. That's just the truth, as much as he can.
can.
But the point I'm making is, although the market is saturated now, it now beckons on us to always improve on what it is you know. You cannot be comfortable with what you think you know. You need to be prepared to, expand your knowledge base. You can decide to say, okay, you're good in a particular language and you want to stick with it. In fact, I can give you a very good experience. 2018, the company I was working for, I met this guy who was a WordPress person. I came in as a software developer. In fact, I was actually writing PHP conventionally. That means without a framework. I was just writing vanilla PHP. Now, when I was to join the company, I had a friend of mine who is in Germany now, who I told was like, look, I heard that people now write PHP language with frameworks. Can you what framework do you think is in vogue? And can you teach me one or two things? And you were like, yeah. And under a week, I had to learn how to use Laravel. And that was how I started improving. In fact, in using Laravel, my old way of writing code was what I still migrated to Laravel. But like every other developer, I would say, yeah, I know how to use Laravel. So it was when I started working with teams and I began to understand the blunders I was committing. That was I had to go back and correct those things. So that staff who was a WordPress person, I had reached out to him. I was like, hey dude, why don't you come and learn, hardcore software development? Because I feel people who do WordPress are lazy people. No offense to content management system people. I feel they don't like getting their hands dirty. He
Dirty.
refused. He was comfortable with what he knew. Now, 3, 4 years down the line, where I am now in terms of my career and in fact in terms of monetary value, we're not the same. But he's
Exactly.
still where he is. So the point I'm making is you need to, as a software developer, it must be your passion to upskill yourself. You should
Absolutely.
always be willing to learn something new. Don't just think that because something works and you know it, you will just restrict yourself to what you know. You wouldn't want to go. If you do that, the tech space will leave you behind because the tech space is forever growing.
Forever growing, their new concepts, new features, new tools, it's,
So
yeah, forever growing. Yes, yes.
that's just what I think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel you guys have basically touched on my next question, which is your advice to aspiring tech professionals. But we can just like have a recap and like have bullet points. Clara, what just give us like I wouldn't say five, but I won't give you a number. Just give us tips or your advice to people that want to break into tech and how they can succeed as new, especially in 2025, as new tech tech newbies, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Tip number one: be delusional.
Mhm.
I
Be
like that.
delusional in the sense of believe in yourself regardless.
Yeah.
Even if you hear people saying, "Oh, the tech market, the job market is, oh, right now it's not so good." No, be delusional. Go after what you want. The world always makes space for people like that. Also, be delusional and believe that you can attain whatever you want to attain in terms of learning, in terms of getting the jobs you want, in terms of getting the business you want out there. Just be delusional. uh, so yeah, I think that is the first thing I will say, and it should encompass all the other things. And then the second one is always keep learning, just the way Tobori said, that the market is always changing. You always need to learn to stay on top of the curve. And I will tell you, in as much as we say yes, most people get in tech doesn't mean that you're necessarily smart, but there are a lot of smart people in tech. And what makes people smart also is their ability to retain information and assess it well, right? So people in tech are always learning. So to stay at the top of the curve, always keep learning, always keep building. So yeah, be delusional, always keep upskilling, and you should be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Clara. Awesome, awesome. Toberi, your tips?
Well, for me, I'll say never be afraid to make mistakes. But don't make mistake in a multi-million dollar company and then you say somebody said you should not be afraid to make mistakes and you not cause havoc to the company. The point I'm making is the more you make mistakes, the more you're able to learn. Before the era of ChatGPT, there was something my friend used to say: Google is your friend. That means you should be willing to make research. Right now, you have ChatGPT and it's free. So
ChatGPT is your friend. So I think we
it's,
should be first.
it's,
it's no more Google is
it's
your
no longer Google is your friend.
friend. It's your friend.
ChatGPT
Yeah.
now is your friend. So if you have challenges, you can always consult ChatGPT and it may give you step by step ways to solve whatever problem it is you have. Then, if you also need someone to mentor you, as I've done that for a couple of people myself, there was there's this young lad that I knew from school. I had to talk to a friend of mine who has his own company, small company, and I'm like, okay, I bought a laptop for the guy, bought internet dongle for the guy. I'm like, you know what? Since there's nothing you're doing at home, why don't um, go work for my friend? And my friend was actually paying him salary. In fact, I was even paying his salary too, but he didn't know. Now the guy called me some weeks ago and he was like, he met a client and the client wants him to do, the website for him and he wants to, create a mobile app and he was asking me how much money he should, bill the client. I said, well, in doing this, first you need to know what server your application is going to run. The server will determine the kind of language you will use, and you need to find out the objectives of the project from your client. Once you have done that, I think you can charge the client from this to this. So he's always reaching out to me when he needs advice on some certain things. Point I'm making is there's nothing wrong in looking for a mentor who can guide you and so that you don't waste a whole lot of time learning uh, the job. So I think don't be afraid to make mistakes. Always look for a mentor. And again, ChatGPT is your friend. It's never
Exactly.
consulted.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. Let's talk about networking or referral. How important is that in landing tech jobs? Yeah, let's go. Toberi, you can go first, please.
Okay. Well, to be honest with you, with my experience, right? I've not really gotten a job through networking. I heard it works for people, right?
Mm,
For me, um, For the jobs I've had so far, I think it's all about um, being yourself. You can apply for jobs, especially when you have an interview. I've had cases where I've been honest to a prospective employer that I didn't know something, but I was willing to learn on the job, and because of how I presented myself, I was given the opportunity. If I'm being honest with you, all the jobs I've had so far, I've never had anyone through um, um, a network, but um, for people within your network, right? I think when it comes to making research, right, when it comes to, brainstorming or sharing ideas, then yes, I have had to do that with people who are within my network. But I don't know. It's
In
different
landing
strokes.
a job,
Yeah.
it's you've
But
not.
in line a job, for me, no, not really. It doesn't mean I'm not open to it. So
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
my
I mean,
network
I'm,
also,
yeah.
I don't need them. I need
The
you.
boy is saying, please,
Yeah,
please, I'm open to networking. I'm open to
yeah,
someone
I'm
referring me.
open to it.
I agree. Of course, it hasn't worked for everyone. Some people get their
Yeah,
jobs. I mean, they land roles through referrals and all of that. But I know some people will be like, there's no point applying if they don't refer you. There's no point in the tech space. You can get a job without knowing anyone. It's possible,
yeah,
but it's also advisable to join communities, build a network because you never know. Someone can refer you if you've done something for them and you maybe did it well. Yeah,
mhm.
but Clara, let's has networking helped you in any way to land a job? I think you mentioned that earlier, but let's. I think there's a delay. Hold on.
Um, yeah. So yes, I have landed a job using networking. I would say in Zanzibar, I created a site for someone's business, and they came along with someone else to create the same website. But I would say it's because I was aligning myself around business people, because business people always need a website. They always want an online presence, tech savvy people. And then also, I think when it comes to networking, LinkedIn is one of the best global networks there is. I have also gotten, opportunities through LinkedIn, like literally just someone reaching out, recruiters reaching out for my LinkedIn. Even currently, as we're speaking, I am going through a process with a company where a recruiter had reached out to me via LinkedIn. So LinkedIn should be your
Go
go-to
to, yeah,
global
absolutely.
network. Yeah, just make a bomb LinkedIn profile.
Profile, yeah, yeah. My first two jobs too. I got them from LinkedIn. So yeah, it should
Exactly.
be your go-to. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should switch profiles with you guys. Since networking is working for you guys, maybe I'll just take your two profiles and
Yeah.
just see. So maybe Clara, if you visit my profile tomorrow and you see your face on my profile, you wouldn't be upset. I just joking.
That's fine. Yeah. So now, guys, let's leave the techie things. Let's talk about
Mhm.
what you guys do outside work, because I mean they say tech bros or tech ladies can be boring. Is that true? Do you guys have fun outside coding and getting your hands dirty and all of that? What do you do outside work for fun? Let's start with Clara.
Okay.
Okay. Outside work, I do business. I'm joking. I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
Okay.
Uh, I would say I play chess. I love chess. I love games in general. I also like napping. And this year, 2025, I have made it a serious mission for me to be able to join a physical activity, because you know what they say about tech people. But you
Yeah.
can see I've already lost weight, right? Because, yeah, I've lost like
Oh,
6 kilos. I'm serious. I've lost.
Sophie wants to say something. What are you
No.
saying? What are you saying?
So,
What are you
Bonnie,
saying?
what do you want to say?
I'm just saying. You said you've lost weight. I actually
Yeah.
think you actually added weight to
Clara, please let's move on.
Yeah, let's actually move on. Tobore is clearly blind, so you need glasses, Tobore.
Ah,
Coincidentally,
very
you're the only one
hilarious.
without glasses, but you need it the most.
But yeah, I get it though with tech. I mean, because we get to sit for long. If you're not consciously trying to work out or just moving, or you can just get relaxed and you just start adding weight and all of that. So you are
Yeah,
yeah, going for physical activities is a
yeah.
good thing. Yeah.
So I'm starting tennis this year. Tennis
Oh,
paddle.
interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice, nice. Thank you, Clara. Toberi, so yeah, what are the things you do for fun?
Okay, so I have a couple. One, video games. I love video
Mm.
games. I enjoy playing video games, be it on console or my mobile phone. Another one is movies. I love watching movies, but I don't like watching drama movies because I think they don't
It's too
trigger my
much.
brain. So yeah, so anything action or sci-fi or something that investigative, yeah, I would love that. Apart from that too, I enjoy sit outs a lot. Sometimes whenever I don't want to be in the house, probably I just I love driving. Driving is one thing I know I like. So sometimes I can just, drive out and just sit somewhere, enjoy nature and, just have
So
fun.
Clara, when Toberi visits
Yeah.
Kenya or Zanzibar, just when he's around, it's going to be the one to drive you around.
Yeah, that's what I realized just now when he was speaking. That's what I was thinking about, actually.
What was that? You guys broke up just now, so I didn't
Oh,
hear anything.
really? So, I
Yeah.
mean, since you love driving, once you're
Mhm.
in Kenya, Clara doesn't even need to think about driving. You drive her around for the period you're in Kenya.
Yeah,
No,
then I just have a driver.
Clara said she wants to lose weight, so she can try
So
to
you
take.
guys will take, you guys will walk instead, right?
No, I never complain about my weight. It's her.
So
So
it's Clara.
she, she
Tobore
can
is
try.
means that he will be riding the car and I will be running.
Exactly.
It's a physical activity. You said you wanted physical activity.
Oh my god. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much, guys.